I was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer on April 3rd, 2005. It was shocking, to say the least. Cancer was nowhere near my radar. My fiance and I were laying in bed, going back and forth about honeymoon plans, and he was all, oh, you're always planning things the last minute. All of a sudden, in an instant, everything changed. He said, like, what's this? And she was squeezing my breast, saying, like, do you have breast cancer in your family? And my husband, who's a physician, and I said, no. And he said, I'm sure it's nothing. He said, but I feel a little something in your breast. I think I had a clinical breast exam maybe once in my life 9 years before. I had not been to an OBGYN in all of that time. My father is a physician, and I think I grew up just having such access to healthcare that was always the last thing on my mind. So the next day, I called my dad and I told my parents, and they recommended that I come home to Montclair, New Jersey to see my mom's breast surgeon. My mom has never had breast cancer, but just who she goes for checkups. So I lay down, and immediately when she did the sonogram, her face changed. She had said that she did see something a little suspicious. She asked, can we just go right ahead and do a biopsy? The next day, I'll never forget it, the same nurses and staff that were so friendly to me the day before, like, oh, hello, are you Dr. Finkelstein's daughter? This time we're stone-faced, very quiet. And we walked into the doctor's office and sat down, and I learned to read upside down. And I remember it said carcinoma of the breast. Like, carcinoma is cancer. This cannot be happening. After hearing that diagnosis, like, what I craved more than anything was, forget about meeting another young woman, to just know what a young woman diagnosed with breast cancer even looked like. This is before Facebook, or at least before I joined, and there was no one. There was one girl I spoke to on the phone who had a stage 1 lumpectomy and radiation, no chemotherapy. She didn't lose her hair. I didn't feel like, for me, it just was going to be a different experience. I had so many questions about chemotherapy and a wig and all this whole process. I was introduced to Michal through a mutual friend. She too was diagnosed at the age of 32, also at a stage 2. And we went to lunch and hit it off immediately. It was this powerful connection. She had never met with another young woman to help them through she was still sort of coping with what had happened to her 3 years earlier. She had 2 young children. She had just been through so much. And when she heard that I was about to get married, she said, I have to meet this girl. From the moment she walked into the restaurant, I was speechless. I mean, just exotic looking, breathtaking. Even if she was not attractive, it was what she symbolized, this other young woman who also received the same shattering diagnosis. And she had these 3 years behind her. She had lived. And after lunch, I'll never forget, she invited me to her apartment. And when we got up to her room, she said, I have something for you. And she was getting ready to leave for Israel for the summer. And she took out this box of beautiful, gorgeous scarves with these rich colors. And I didn't understand the connect here. And she's still like, baby, when I go to Tel Aviv this summer, this is how you're gonna wear your wig. She hid it over my hairline. This is before treatment. So she said, this is, she showed me to cover my hairline, cover the top of my ears. She said, I can use pins or double-sided tape to keep the wig on my head, because I didn't understand how it wouldn't move with wind and movement. And there was something there that was greater than the two of us, something magical. We charted every course together, from chemotherapy to having my hair regrow. She was my angel. She was my guardian angel. Unfortunately, she had a recurrence and passed away on Valentine's Day in 2012. So moving forward, I remained active in the breast cancer community, networking with many young women, a lot through Facebook. I was always the breast cancer girl to my high school friends, my college friends. People would private message me all the time, like, I know someone, I know someone. I was really shocked in the medical community and social circles that when you're diagnosed with breast cancer, there's not a nurse calling you and saying like, oh, by the way, this is where you might want to buy your wig. And so I only knew through historically asking Michal, where did you go? Everyone needs a Michal. And, fortunately my occupation at the time afforded me, a little bit, I could work smart and sort of manage both until it got to a point where I was deluged with calls from young women. And then came the girls. And we felt like we wanted to be a resource to women. We had envisioned listing, doctors we were recommending, wig places and nutritionists and dietitians. And then we thought about it like, what if we formed a network and we had doctors and hospitals and personal trainers and nutritionists and occupational therapists all working within the 5 Under 40 umbrella to extend services one woman at a time. We just wanted to lend a helping hand in need to let women know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You'll get your life back, and that life will be better and brighter. This is a temporary blip in the radar. This will give you an opportunity to look at life with a new lens, and you'll see colors so rich that you never knew existed.